Hey, we're going to take a little break here and talk about interstate batteries. Now, if you're like me, enjoying the great outdoors, you need gear that is as reliable as it gets. That's why I power my adventures with interstate batteries. I use interstate batteries in my boats. I use interstate batteries in my camper. Great for your truck, too. From Alaska to Montana, they're outrageously dependable. Battery is essential. With over 150,000 dealer locations, finding one is easy. For all your vehicles, land or sea, choose Interstate. Head to interstatebatteries.com and find your power today. Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay, every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Arts Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24th, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
I'm KC.
I'm Eric.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Nick.
And you're listening to
The Element Podcast.
Sorry, Dad.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you and your support. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Element Podcast, brought to you by First Light Gear. I have feasted upon some salted jumbo Virginia peanuts, Heinz brand, for a snack today. We talking turkey snacks on the podcast? No, we're actually going to talk a lot of different stuff. But one thing to address right away is that Tyler is not here. Tyler didn't make the trip.
Turkey Teej.
Turkey Teej.
I really tried to convince him, and he just would not come, guys.
He kind of wanted to, but then he kind of didn't.
Yeah, that'll happen.
He's got some baseball and stuff to coach right now, which I kind of understand. But we have a new voice on the podcast. A smooth, muted sort of voice.
Yeah.
From Nick Gonzalez.
That's me.
I feel like your talking voice is a little quiet.
It is.
But you probably can sing really good. I bet you belt it out when it comes to singing, don't you?
I cannot.
Really?
No, I'm not a singer.
Golly, man.
He got pumped up when I got that hunting license today. He said,
Did he?
"Let's go!" I'm like, all right, I like this energy.
We are at Turkey Camp. It's pretty cool in the Midwest. You can get a hold of some fairly inexpensive places to stay because there's this thing that's kind of weird, but essentially people vacate old houses either by passing away or moving to the city or whatever, and then there's like just houses around that nobody stays in. Yeah. And we were driving around today. This one's really nice, and we're staying in this place. But I bet I saw like 6 that are just unoccupied houses that are like, those are pretty nice places to stay. You know, kind of a weird thing that happens. But we're gonna talk about some turkey stuff here in a second, but we're gonna address a few things off the bat.
Oh boy,
Michael thinks the world cares about Ohio State football.
that's actually the only thing the world cares about.
He couldn't be further from the truth on that. But we were just discussing a whole lot of football stuff. And Nick has proclaimed that he is a pro football fan.
I am.
And you started watching pro football around what time? Around what year?
I'm trying to think of the year that So I'm a Green Bay Packers fan.
That's where we're getting here.
Yeah. So the year that Aaron Rodgers came in was about the time that I started really paying attention to football. And the year that
Where did Aaron Rodgers go to college?
somewhere in California.
That's it.
Cal.
Yeah.
Yep. That's the only good thing to happen at Cal. The Golden Bears, though, it's
That's
kind of
it.
cool.
Dude, they had a couple years right there where they were a real cool team.
Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, that's a good point,
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Marshawn went there too, didn't he?
That's right.
Right
Yeah.
after
Were they on the
that.
same team?
I think Marshawn's freshman year, I think they were on the same team.
Listen, the footage of Marshawn driving that
It's
cart around
awesome.
is one of the coolest things ever.
He's just sitting there, just lean back, just swerving it. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, that is a cool dude right there.
Yeah, it is.
He's pretty neat on the interview, too. He's pretty good. But you think that it doesn't matter if Dez caught it or not.
I don't. I mean, honestly, I think he probably did catch it. But the following year, Rodgers only had I don't remember, 40 seconds to get down the field and get a touchdown or a field goal. And so the year before, whenever Dez did catch it, there was 2 minutes left. So I think easily he would have went down and got another field
Do
goal.
you?
Yeah.
He's a bad man.
He owned the Cowboys for a while.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
His whole career. Really.
Everybody thinks Jerry owns the Cowboys, but no, everybody else owns the Cowboys.
Whoever's playing them that week
Yeah.
owns the Cowboys.
Eric, who is your favorite pro football team? Let me just go ahead and say this thing, okay? Eric, I give him free reign, especially in pro sports. You are allowed to just be a fan of whoever,
Let's go.
right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
College, there's kind of some allegiances, especially if
Yeah.
you went somewhere or you have family there or whatever. I'm a fan of having a connection to a college, but I say all that to say that you don't. You spread your fandom around the country.
Yeah, a little bit.
You
Not
may
too far,
have
though.
10 different jerseys in your depending on who's
It's
good.
really just around the Midwest.
it's just, yeah.
I don't know. He has a
I guess
what baseball? What hat did you get? Rangers. You're kind of a Rangers fan, right? Because you got a Rangers hat one time on vacation or something like that.
No.
What team was it?
Longhorns.
That was, yeah.
The Longhorns. Yeah.
That's how I started liking Texas. I went to the College World Series when I was a kid, and that was the first hat I bought was a Longhorn hat.
Did you like it because it matched your hair, or
That's it.
why did you?
I mean, maybe that's it.
what attracted
I
you?
just liked the hat. It was a black hat with a orange Longhorn on it.
Yeah,
It's pretty
man.
cool.
Dude, Texas's baseball team.
Yeah,
I don't know
that
about
too.
them still.
They're
I haven't
good.
really been keeping up with it. Back then, they were.
Yeah, well, that was Augie Gio, I
yeah.
believe, right? He
Powerhouse.
was good. But who's your favorite pro football team?
Man,
Nobody anymore.
I kind of go because it was the Rams in St. Louis.
Yeah, well, they ain't there no more.
And they-
Where are they
had
even
no
at?
one. I don't even know.
Are they in LA
It
now?
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I tried after that I just kind of fell out of the NFL. I tried in the Titans but never watched them. And recently I said, you know what, I'm gonna be a Bears fan.
Is that a phenomenon of millennials?
Bears fan.
That millennials all tried to like the Titans?
I don't know.
Don't look at me.
It's not your generation. I think it might be. Maybe it's because Vince Young, Steve McNair.
Yeah,
they
probably
were
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one of the things that's interesting about sports, especially the Big Ten, like Michael's talking about, and the SEC, all of these things are in what we would know as Turkey country.
Oh.
It's like there is a crossover here between passionate fan bases, okay? Because you look at, and I could be speaking out of place here. So if you're a USC fan, reach out and tell me. But a good program, but there's not a huge fan base. I don't feel at least a passionate fan base across the country or anything, right? Maybe there is there in LA or wherever that is, but whereas the Big Ten, the SEC, all that country through there, I mean, that is all just pure Americans. You know what I mean?
telling you,
just some
dude.
people that are just out there hunting turkeys, hunting deer, and watching
Come
football.
on with it. I like where this is going.
That's right, man. So, one of the great things about college football that everybody always kind of proclaims, especially that me being an SEC fan, is the fanfare, the festivities that surround it.
pageantry.
Yeah, the pageantry. That's the word. That's it.
Come on
You
now.
know what's up.
I've been listening
Yeah.
to a bunch of Pat McAfee. They know just about this.
You've been dotting that I for a while, brother.
Come on with it.
So there's that going on, and I feel like there's a lot of that with turkey hunting too, maybe not as much of like the showy thing, but there's a lot of this tradition stuff. There's a lot of this like a way you do it and all that. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds on that stuff because some of it actually, I feel, this is a personal opinion, I feel like becomes a barrier to entry for a lot of people because suddenly like not only is it hard enough to go out there and find a bird and shoot it, but you just have to do it the right or the wrong way. Otherwise you're not cool.
It's real overwhelming.
Yeah. So, but I do appreciate like kind of, let's just focus on the positive side of that stuff. Like, you know, they all kind of look the same. So like there has to be something to them that still makes them like something that you really want to chase, right? Because we didn't decide white pelicans were going to be a thing that we hunted in the springtime, you know? So like, you know, what is it? We kind of all have different levels of turkey hunting. Nick being the newest, you heard your first gobble this morning.
Pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Did you like
awesome.
it?
I did.
Yeah? What did it make you feel like?
Excited.
Warm and fuzzy.
Warm and fuzzy?
Yeah, being from East Texas, you just don't hear that.
Yeah, no, not at all. Have you ever seen a turkey?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Mexico.
Yeah.
And here in Missouri, deer hunted deer.
Yeah, that's right. But as far as like been there for the spring thunder, as they say, not. Yeah.
It's different.
I kind of feel like the one this morning was a little anticlimactic because the place we're staying has a little acreage with it and we're allowed to hunt there. But we didn't have licenses yet, so we were just listening. We were effectively members of the Audubon Society this morning, just listening to them, and which was cool. And I don't know, it actually was like a little bit of a relaxed thing. It was like, oh, cool, turkeys. Yeah. And then I looked at Michael, and I was reminded, oh, this is driving me crazy. Yeah. And so, Eric, you've hunted turkeys for a little while. The most recent member of the element to kill a turkey.
That's right.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Smoked a Jake.
Let's go, dude. Jake and bake is what I like to say.
Me and Michael went to a property that you guys deer hunted this past fall at JP and Lay. And there's a lot of turkeys there. No toms, though. And we weren't there long. We watched 4 Jakes just run around the property together. And since we weren't there very long, told Mike if I get an opportunity at one of these Jakes, I'm taking it because I need the meat and shooting things is fun.
Turkey's good eating. Yeah. So it's and y'all called him in and did the whole thing. It's pretty slick.
We knew they were going to come into this field at some point, and so we just decided to sit on that field edge all afternoon. I mean, 5+ hours.
Oh, y'all were there that long?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have phone service right there?
I don't think we did.
Spotty.
Yeah.
Man.
We were just
That's
sitting there telling jokes, and, like sitting there like, man, there's no turkeys here.
Yeah.
Well, we knew
the
they were
turkey
there.
hunting thing.
We were calling every 30 minutes and nothing.
Yeah.
All day. And they got to a point where the sun started to come down and shining on me. So it's like, we got to do something because if a turkey comes in, I ain't going to be able to move. So we scooted on the other side of the tree where there's shade and repositioned the decoy. And about 6:30, I did a box call. And just out of the hills across the field was those 4 Jakes, and they just came running.
Yeah.
They came running over the hill, stopped, and then was just doing the head bobbing thing and saw the decoy from a few hundred yards away, and they lost their minds. They came sprinting down that hill.
Dude, there probably isn't a more willing bird than a Rio Grande Jake. That is a bird that really wants to come meet you in your shotgun.
There was a point they weren't hung up on the fence, but they were just kind of at the fence looking around, and Eric diaphragm called at them, and they
were there in the next like 10 seconds.
I saw a head go up, and then it was just sprint to a gap.
The footage is really cool because y'all are
ridiculous.
hunting in like what's essentially a food plot. It's a wheat field that kind of got halfway planted, but it's all like 2 foot tall. So it's like no turkey and then boop, head.
You just see the head.
Yeah. Which that stuff will come out next year, but it's I thought it was pretty cool. That's your second turkey ever to kill, right? Yeah. Way to go, Eric.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, you're welcome. I killed a Jake this year too. It's okay, man.
Yeah.
They're tasty little
Yeah,
critters, you know.
so.
And especially, I think, you know, this kind of goes to the kind of the negative side of some of the turkey and stuff. But like shooting a Jake could be looked down upon by some folks, but it's within the realm of the law for one thing. And if laws aren't there for some reason, then what are they there for, right? But especially in a Rio Grande situation, like that's the one subspecies of turkey I believe that just is still doing really good population-wise. Not really an issue at all. shoot a shake.
What we've seen this year, yeah, they're thick.
Yeah, they are, man. And Rio's the best, wouldn't you say, Michael?
No.
No? What's the best?
I don't talk about the best. But it ain't Rio.
That's right. You talk about Ohio State all the time. I got him.
I don't know, man. I think when you look
If
at Whitetail,
Beanie Wells was a turkey, what
he'd be
subspecies
an
would he
Eastern.
be?
He'd be an Eastern.
You
Just
think
look
so?
at him. He looks mean. He's angry. He hurdles people. Dog. Eastern. But when you're looking at deer, you don't think the smallest deer are the coolest. You think the biggest ones are. And that's an Eastern.
You think the smallest turkey's the coolest?
No, I think Easterns are the
What's the
coolest.
smallest turkey?
I think it's Rio's.
We had this debate. It might be Rio's. But Osceola's are pretty
I
small,
was
too.
wondering, yeah.
They are. They're tall.
They
Which
look
is kind of
big,
weird.
yeah. But they're not.
Matt was telling us about it. It's like they just are taller. And I think it's because they got to go through the swamps and just nasty stuff
Yeah.
all the time. So
Kind of strange.
it is strange.
Your turkey hunting started at a young age.
Yeah.
We won't tell that story.
Yeah, we don't need to.
But
Different time.
you're kind of eat up with it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would say that among the table, it would go Nick at the bottom just because of the lack of interaction.
We'll get him there.
And then Eric and I are probably pretty similar. I might be a little bit, at the moment, a little more hyped up about it than Eric is. I don't know. Maybe,
I'm a quiet hire.
Yeah, that's true, man. So it's kind of hard to say. But then Michael is just about your 2 tiers above us as far as just to what level he rages about a turkey.
Almost just can't handle it.
Literally this morning. So last night we got here a little bit late because Michael and Eric, pretty much, and
It actually is.
Casey's always one that late a little bit late, right, guys? Oh, yeah, right. Listen, it takes a long time for my 2 to 5 minutes to add up to how late y'all were yesterday.
That's
but
true. It's true.
we decided that we didn't have any birds located, and we didn't have our licenses purchased yet. So we were going to get up at 5:15, which is about 45 minutes before sunrise. And we were going to kind of drive and survive, get our licenses, and maybe find some birds to just collect data for the upcoming hunt. And that's how we do a lot of our, what you might call buck trucks, which we're not buck trucking. We're Turk trucking right now.
Tom truck.
Yeah, Tom truck. We have to find something a little bit more phonetical for that.
Yeah, we do.
If you got a good idea on turkey names for the vehicle, let us know. I'm going to be thinking about that a little bit myself. I like that kind of stuff. But anyways, it's kind of how we approach a lot of these road trips that we do. We're the first morning, if we don't have anything really surefire, it's let's get out and figure out the landscape.
Eliminate ground, baby.
In a lot of different ways. And we were going to do that. But then Michael went out the back door.
Hey everybody, listen up. I got mega huge news. Meat Eater Live is heading back out on the road. That's right. Join me and the crew. Clay Newcomb, Cal, Yanni, Spencer's going to be there. Phil the engineer's going to be there. Meat Eater Live headed back out. Now, when you get every ticket, okay? Every ticket you buy, you get a signed copy of our new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook. This tour is celebrating the release of the book. Buy a ticket, get a signed copy, Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook, wild game recipes for the grill, smoker, camp stove, and campfire, which I'll point out is a $38 value. Here's where we're going to go. April 23rd, the Mesa Art Center in Mesa, Arizona. April 24, the Balboa Theater in San Diego. April 25, the Grove in Anaheim, California. April 27, the Crest Theater in Sacramento. April 29, the Union in Salt Lake City. April 30, the Egyptian in Boise. May 1, the Wilma Theater in Missoula. May 2, the Bing Crosby Theater in Spokane, Washington. May 4, Revolution Hall in Portland, Oregon. And May 5, the last day of the tour, Pantages Theater in Tacoma, Washington. For tickets and more information, visit the events page at themeateater.com. Hope to see you at the show.
And hoot out.
No, I said, all right, guys, I'm going to go find a turkey.
And then went full-fledged Michael Flatley throughout the house, which do any of y'all, you know who that is?
I have no idea.
Do you know who that is? No? You remember Riverdance? It was like a Irish dancing group in the 90s.
All I was picturing was just Dion high-stepping into the end zone.
That's what
all
you
I
were
was
doing, but
picturing.
you were flailing your arms.
Oh, I was trying to fly like a turkey. That's what it was.
Yeah. He heard a turkey, ran through the living room while we're getting dressed, and went out the front door. We're like, where are you going?
You can hear him just as good out the back door.
That's right. Why are you going out there? So the turkey excitement got high. Actually, it was a good way to start the hunt.
Yeah,
because like
sometimes you got to get the morale up.
Well, y'all, hopefully you have listened to it. If you haven't, I'd rather you listen to the podcast we did with Scott last week than this one. So go listen to that if you haven't. But we were in Arkansas with Scott, and we didn't hear a lot of gobbles. So, like, to kind of go on another turkey hunt where you hear a gobble right away from the house you're staying in was, like, a pretty hype moment.
Yeah, felt good.
Yeah. So I like it. But then our day kind of sputtered after that, pretty much. It's just that weird thing about turkey hunting that I think we were kind of telling Nick about. It's like the morning you have, like, usually you work harder than we did this morning, and then around 10:30 you're like, what do I do the rest of my day? Which if you have good private, maybe that's not the case, but we're hunting public land around here for the most part. We do have like one private permission that we may secure before the day is out, and if so, we're killing a bunch of turkeys there. But the public thing is tough, it seems like. How many – so Eric and I drove around together. We saw 3 or 4 hunters parked and 2 at least driving around. How many did y'all see?
We saw 3 parked. We didn't see anybody driving, but those 3 people that were parked were in some good places.
Yeah. Yeah, we both had the same experience. So we pulled up to this one spot, and we're kind of driving down to a turnaround, and we see a turkey in the road. Like, turkey! And I think it's a hen. So we drive down there to see it, and then we're like, hey, this is a good spot to kind of get out and call. Maybe either she has a boyfriend. As Eric said, excuse me. And we didn't hear anything, but as we got out of the car, or we were kind of standing there calling, we heard, and I looked at Eric, and it'll be in the footage because, like, I try to look into the camera whenever we do stuff, guys, and sometimes I don't do a great job of that. And this is one of the times I didn't look in the camera. I looked at Eric behind the camera, like,
What was that?
what was that? Because it's like, that sounds like a turkey, but it's not the right thing. And sure enough, in the excitement of the turkey sighting, we had driven right past a guy's truck about 200 yards up the road, and that was someone who maybe perceives time at a different pace than I do because their cadence of their call was a lot slower than what I would do.
Maybe they got something figured out.
Maybe they do. There's a chance.
I don't think I'll be doing it.
I don't want to be super critical, but it didn't sound very good. And y'all had a similar thing.
Well, we saw, I think it was a hen. We couldn't really tell, and I didn't want to go drive by it a bunch just because I got it marked, and I was like, we'll come back later and check if there's a bird here. And then, like, come around the corner like 50 yards, there's a truck right there. It's like, dadgummit.
Yeah. The first place that I wanted to stop and send out some calls, it was like a double corner. I was looking at it on X. I was like, oh, we're going to stop right there. And there's a truck parked right there.
Yep.
Man, they got it figured out.
Yep.
There's some guys around here that know how to turkey hunt. And it ain't me. Trying to figure it out. Nick, where are we going to kill a turkey?
Where?
Well, don't use specific names. Yeah. Are we going to kill them in the trees? We're going to kill them in open pasture?
Probably open pasture.
You think?
Yeah, on the woodline.
Yeah.
I'd assume.
It's a good spot.
I'm looking at one of those right now.
Are you? You got some spots picked out for us for the afternoon?
I might.
Yeah, like some stuff you're going to scout around? We got the boat with us, which is kind of a unique thing. We tried it out some today. I don't know if it's actually effective or not. Remains to be seen. I kind of feel like it's just going to really be something that gets us places. I don't know if we're going to be able to locate birds out of the boat or not.
We can cover some ground in the boat, though. That is
We
for
can.
Sure.
And I think that after driving around, it's kind of like, man, there's a lot of folks. So we saw some people boating too, but there's a decent amount of fishermen, I noticed. But, the boat doesn't get you away from everybody, but it does take out 80 or 90% of the playing field.
Yeah.
And those guys are all – now, I'm not saying there aren't people here that won't work for a turkey, but, essentially no one's going to walk over a mile and a half for a turkey because you're probably going to run into one before you get there, potentially. And with the boat, we can kind of get further back in there. Michael's grinning about something. He found something he likes.
I found a couple things at about 1 mile and 4/10 that I really like.
Yeah?
Right now.
Are you going to walk there? Are you going to boat there? Or what's it look like?
There's a boating way for sure.
Yeah,
but
that's good.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah. Well, that sounds good to me. It's a different deal because you're kind of loud in the boat, so it's kind of strange. I think what we're going to have to do is just pull the boat up somewhere and then hike in a ways and just do some hunting and just kind of use the boat to find remote country, which is fine too. And Nick and I were talking, and I was like, I just really enjoy like incorporating the boat stuff into the hunting stuff.
Dude, if we can put a turkey in the boat,
It'd be sick.
I will lose my mind.
It would be cool, brother. Maybe it'll happen.
I will lose my mind.
Michael, have we talked about our New Mexico experience at all?
We haven't.
I think I don't want to cover the whole thing, but you had an experience in New Mexico turkey hunting.
Yep.
That kind of stunk for you and for all of us.
I had 2 that stunk for me, actually.
I don't know if I know the second one.
It was the first one, actually.
Well, I don't know if I know the one that I don't know. Is it something that's going to be discussed on a podcast?
Or it could be, yeah.
Okay.
It can be. It was just the turkeys coming in, and I was self-filming, so I couldn't get over on the
Oh,
birds
yeah,
because the
okay.
camera was just in my way.
Yeah, that's not something that a normal person will encounter, but that did happen to you.
Yep.
So, like, you could have killed birds if it wasn't for a camera.
I don't want to hear about that.
It's just sad. But the one that I want to talk about is the shot. Mm-hmm. Shots fired.
Shots fired.
As YouTube would say.
That's what we're going to say.
That's what the video's going to say, brother.
I thought that's what the thumb was going to say.
That's right. So we went on a turkey death hike one day, and I already killed a bird. Michael hasn't killed a bird yet. So we're like trying out a new area, and there's a lot of turkeys around, but we're trying to find them. We're trying to hunt them, and we're trying to do it midday because where we'd started out in the morning, we weren't quite on the bird yet. So to make a long story a little shorter, we hike up a mountain, walk along the ridge of the mountain. And I mean mountain, we gained like 500 feet, right? Like we went way up. And we went to drop down the mountain, heard a gobble at like 1:30 or something. It was like fairly late in the day, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. And what I've learned from turkey hunting so far is that if you hear a gobble anytime after like 10, it's like,
it's game on.
brother, it's time.
Get it in motion.
yeah. Let's crank up the intensity right now. So we're going to kill this thing. So we put our heads together to figure out how to get down to these birds that are gobbling in this little timber patch. And within our stalk, we make a loop around to kind of come down where we won't be as visible. But then the turkeys essentially came to us. There may have been another hunter involved. We don't know for sure, but we heard what may have been a yelp from another hunter down there, and he might have spooked them up to us. But I'll let you take over from there and talk about how that encounter went.
So we're kind of like dropping down into a cut is what I'd call it. It was pretty much a clear cut. Mm-hmm. And we just see, or Greg actually, who's behind me in KC, sees turkeys just sprinting at
Greg
us.
can see pretty good. He
Greg's
catches
got
some
eyes
stuff.
on him.
He does. Them Greg eyes, we like to call
That's
them.
it. So we pretty much are just caught in the wide open, and we just sit down, and none of us are in a good position.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're all out in the sun, and these birds just start coming, I mean, literally right up the hill at us. So we're sitting there, and Casey's like, "Do you see him?" And I'm like, looking at a place where I think they're going to come out, and look to my left, and there's a turkey just like high-heading, looking right at us.
Not good.
So I think he takes like a couple steps. I swing over on him, and then when I'm telling you that I have never felt more confident about a shot in my life, I've never felt more confident about a shot in my life.
How far was that bird? Like 25?
25 or 30, I'd say.
It's like well within turkey range.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think like, turkey are kind of like deer. It's like if you get over 40, it starts getting kind of weird. Mm-hmm. It's still doable, and there's a lot of people with TSS nowadays, which is like that tungsten stuff that, supposedly holds a better pattern or whatever. They're shooting further than that.
Oh, yeah.
I had never done it, but I bet it would be effective. But all that to say, like this turkey is in like in killing zone.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He's not even on the brink. He's like, I feel very confident about the shot. Shoot, and there are just birds flying absolutely everywhere. I've never seen so many turkeys go flying.
They had what I would call bird flu.
And they flew for a long ways. But I run up, try to get a second shot at the bird.
So we realized that he didn't die.
Yeah,
right
I
away.
realized
He like flies.
Like I watched him fly out
Yeah.
and like fly out of the country. So I run up and there's another gob down the hill. Try to shoot him. Gun goes click. Doesn't go boom. And at that point I want to throw up. I'm sick to my stomach because I don't know if I've missed a turkey with a shotgun. It was when I was real young.
Yeah.
And I missed that turkey, and I'm sitting there and just thinking, like, how did that even happen? Like, I remember the shot in my head still. Bead was on his head, and KC brought to my attention. I shot from my back downhill and was like, have you ever done that? Nope, haven't. And I just don't think I got my head down on the gun.
We were caught, like, in a bad position.
Yeah.
Essentially, Michael and I, being the hunters in this situation, we were in front, and we sat down literally in an opening. It's a pretty steep hill, but we just were like, we had no cover at all.
Yeah.
But we were on our backs because it was really steep. Like, it was almost steep enough to fall down that hill right there where those turkeys were coming up. And between that and having to aim downhill from your back, it's a very interesting shotgun angle. Because the bird you shot in Iowa, which that video is on the YouTube channel, go watch it if you hadn't. Michael shot a bird on public land in Iowa, just doing the thing. Hunting public, being just a dog out there. Him and Eric was with him.
Yes,
They put together a pretty cool thing up there. But you shot that turkey kind of from your back too, similar angle, and you can see in the second angle of the footage that the gun's pretty high up on your shoulder from that.
Yeah.
It would you'd either have to put the gun even further up on your shoulder or get your head way down for a cheek weld.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or aim low and hope it goes in the right place.
Yeah.
Which that's my least favorite
Kind of tough
of everything.
to do. You have what kind of sight on that gun?
Just a fiber optic front sight.
Yeah, and with a
middle bead.
Yeah, bead in the middle, which is what I have too. I have the same gun. And
But it's got the big old waterfowl barrel on there.
which is sick.
For no reason.
That's cool.
I've never hunted ducks in my life.
But a good choke. So
Really
like
good
you're shooting a good pattern and
Yep.
stuff. And essentially what we think is you shot over the bird because
I feel like I had to have shot over the bird. Like, thinking about it, the more I think about it, it's just like, yeah, I didn't get my head down on the gun.
Michael,
What is it?
would you say that you black out from time to time whenever
Oh,
excited
I do.
things
I
happen?
do for sure. That instance I did not though. Like,
Yeah.
Iowa, I kind of remember aiming at the bird.
Well, good. You know, my Texas bird, I didn't really aim. I just waterfowl shot that thing.
I believe that.
And,
He was pretty close.
That works. I mean, that's the way you shoot a shotgun. But in turkey hunting, a lot of times you do actually aim.
Yeah.
It made a difference in that situation. So I wanted you to tell that story, not to just put you through it or ridicule you, but like it's a thing for people to remember because
yeah.
I'm noticing that a lot of the country probably is hunting turkeys in steep terrain. It might not be high elevation, but like there's a chance that you're set up on the side of a holler or a ridge or a whatever they're going to call them further north. And what do you instead of a holler? What do you call that?
I don't know.
What do you call that
Ravine.
stuff? A ravine
Yeah.
around home? You call those ravines? You could be in a situation where you're shooting at a bird downhill from pretty much your back, and it's a thing to keep in mind.
That's why you'll see a lot of guys run red dots turkey hunting.
Why is that different?
Just because you got to get the right red dot. You can't just have one of them cheap ones. But you can pretty much just put the red dot wherever you want it to go, and it'll go there as long as you're sighted in and everything.
That's called a parallax,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yep.
And essentially what you have inside there is a glass lens that is concave that the red dot is reflecting up onto. So, like, you can hold a red dot scope. You can hold a gun way out from your body, and if you can see the dot, that's where the bullet's going to hit, you know, depending on, range and stuff. But, like, if you can see the red dot, put it on the target and shoot.
Yep.
And that would have worked in that situation pretty nicely.
Definitely having some thoughts about a red dot, and I don't know yet. We'll see.
There's a lot of these
We got a year to tinker.
as Tyler, since he's not here, we'll ask Tim. Likes to call them the 10th Legion types.
That's it.
They made a movie about that. It's called The Fox and the Hound. If y'all haven't seen it, it's pretty good.
Dadgummit, dude. I'm not a part of this podcast.
You watched, what's it called, Fox and the Colonel?
The Colonel and the Fox.
Y'all watched that. Was it pretty good?
It was pretty good. It's pretty good storytelling. I think Steven Spurlock did it. Pretty good job at
Friend of the program, Steven Spurlock. Yeah.
He does a pretty good job.
He does, man. He has a very creative eye for videography. But it's kind of interesting that there's certain ways that you should hunt a turkey in some people's books, but it would seem that there's not a lot of shotgun regulation within that. It's like, let's roll out with the 410 in the bottomlands with the red dot on it and TSS, but, you know.
Sounds good to me.
Only a hen decoy, and he's got to gobble before you shoot him. You know,
Single hand got a gobble on top of your head.
And, you know, just so y'all know, I'm just kind of poking fun. I think it's all good times, and if you have a fun way of hunting stuff and you like to do it that way, then that's good. But today we should end this podcast with the story. We're going to let people behind the scenes of production. Oh. We produce videos here at The Element. If you haven't noticed, we put them on the Meat Eater channel, put them on the Element channel. And part of that is why Eric and now Nick are here to help us with this stuff. Y'all probably hear and see Nick around from time to time. And what?
I guess I'm just not here.
Brother, you're hunting. Do you want to hunt or not? Michael used to be helpful. But we were running around the boat today. And GoPros are nice in the boat because they're waterproof. And we like to get good creative angles with our GoPros. Nick, in his adult life, you have a landscaping business.
Yeah, landscape
correct?
irrigation, yeah.
So you have a trailer behind your truck a lot.
Yeah, every day.
And I was like, hey, you want to back my boat up? Not that Eric can't, but I was like, we'll spread the load here a little bit, you know. Test the new guy out, you know, that whole thing. And so Nick backs the boat trailer in. We did a great job. Rolled the window down, which is a huge part of backing the boat trailer, so you can communicate. And we got to pull the boat onto the trailer. And Eric, tell us about it.
Well, we still had some GoPros on the side of the boat.
Yeah.
And
what are they connected to the boat with?
The goosenecks?
Yeah, it's like
It's
an alligator clamp with a like an articulating neck on it.
Good word.
And,
Thanks.
as you pulled the boat onto the trailer, one of the GoPros hit the edge of the trailer and just knocked it out.
We all saw it in slow motion.
As soon as it was happening, I looked up. I was like, no.
I wish I could get your reaction.
I know. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
And we needed that GoPro because it had some clips that were pretty key. So,
Yeah.
I hopped in the water.
Took
and
one for the team. Put the team on his back, Jared Shopper.
Got real wet. Started feeling around with my feet. I mean, this water, it's pretty. The river is high, so it's muddy. It's not clear one bit.
Yeah.
Not that it would be, but just started feeling around with my feet, and I was not feeling good about it. It's like, dang, this thing's gone.
We got the dip net out. We're trying everything.
Pulling up rocks and
Pulling up
stuff.
rocks
It's like-
in there. And then, like, this one time, I'm like, guys, and I wasn't actually sure I had it. I was like, guys, I think I got it, but not really thinking that. But thinking I was going to pull up another rock, and we pull up the net, and GoPro's in it. It was rolling.
Sure enough, it was on.
Dude, we lost our minds. It was ridiculous.
It was like we killed a 6-bearded Tom.
There was a guy up at the boat ramp who was like, you guys have way too much fun down here.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. I'm glad that we found the GoPro.
Me too.
I think we're going to find some gobblers. You know, in fact, that's what we're going to spend our evening doing is trying to go around and locate some birds. I don't know how successful we're going to be at that. We might just have to deer hunt these things and just find us some good spots to go, you know, just be in the morning or whatever. But I think that one of the things that I would key in on today is that we get in bed earlier. Yeah. Because I just have to have about 6 hours sleep to function well. I don't want to do a lot less than that. I can if I need to. But if we get in bed earlier, it'll allow us to get up earlier and then everything goes good. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're hunting. Absolutely try to get you some sleep because you're sharper when you sleep good. You make good decisions, You can think better. You're less grumpy, too. If you're hunting in a group, man, it's like a huge thing. Attitude's a huge thing for even a solo hunt, much less hunting with friends, right? You don't want to alienate people that you love and say something you didn't mean just because you didn't get good sleep. So remember to do that. Get after them turkeys, and remember, this is your element.
Live in it.
Hey, we're going to take a little break here and talk about interstate batteries. Now, if you're like me, enjoying the great outdoors, you need gear that is as reliable as it gets. That's why I power my adventures with interstate batteries. I use interstate batteries in my boats. I use interstate batteries in my camper. Great for your truck, too. From Alaska to Montana, they're outrageously dependable. Battery is essential. With over 150,000 dealer locations, finding one is easy. For all your vehicles, land or sea, choose Interstate. Head to interstatebatteries.com and find your power today. Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.